All right, guys, welcome to day 6 of trying to master tray flips in 10 days. We're halfway through this thing. I was hoping I'd be making more progress by now. I wish I could say it was like a gradual, like steady uphill of progression, but it's been very, very inconsistent. And a lot of you guys have noticed this and left a lot of comments telling me what I'm doing wrong, how my approach is flawed. And so today I'm going to go through and address a few of the comments that you guys have left and talk about how I'm going to change my approach so that hopefully we can get some better results. So I had several people comment basically saying that splitting up the trick into like individual elements, or the pillars as I call them, is almost like the training wheels on a bike. It's good for practice, but at a certain point, if you don't take the training wheels off, you're just going to make actually riding harder. So that's kind of the idea behind how I'm going to actually change up how I'm approaching the trick from now on. So I'm glad that I practiced how I did all 4 individual pillars, but at some point it's like making cookies. It's not just enough to get the ingredients. You have to mix the ingredients together in order to get the final product. Rather than doing 10 reps of power, 10 reps of technique, 10 reps of balance, and then 10 reps of commitment, I'm going to shift the focus towards combining the power, balance, and commitment all together. So how this is going to look is I'm still going to do 10 reps practicing the technique, practicing getting that good scoop. But now that I know I can jump high enough, I can stay balanced, and I can commit, comes down to doing all those things at the same time. So still gonna work on the scoop just to make sure I've got the rotation dialed in. But then after that, I'm really gonna skew the practice towards combining all of the elements that we were talking about. So I'm gonna do 10 reps of the scoop, and then I'm gonna do 10 reps combining the power, balance, and commitment, trying to land the trick, take a break, 10 more reps, take a break, and then finally we'll do our final set of 10 and see how many we can get. So that's overall the new approach. Also, a lot of you guys said that I wasn't picking up my legs enough while I was trying the trick, so I was jumping and straight legging it. So that's another thing we're going to keep in mind today. And the final thing that we're going to be focusing on is the foot position on the back foot. Some of you guys were saying that I had it too high up on the tail, and I remembered P-Rod said that he puts his foot right where the tail starts to curve upwards, right next to the pocket. And that's where you guys were suggesting I should put my feet as well. So that's another thing I'm going to be focusing on. I know it sounds like there's a lot that I'm focusing on, and I feel like that's one fatal flaw that I've kind of created for myself up to this point, focusing on too many new things. It may sound like I'm doing that again today, but a lot of these things that I'm focusing on today are things that I've thought about all throughout this process. So I'm just trying to keep it simple, stick to the things that I know that work. Again, like I said before, focus more on combining the 4 pillars rather than separating them. We're gonna go ahead and warm up around the park, and then hopefully we land a bunch of tray flips today, make some progress, and by day 10 we can land our 5 tray flips in a row effortlessly.
So for this warm-up, I wanted to focus on what you guys were talking about, which was not only jumping powerfully, but really focusing on like sucking up my legs, like tucking my knees into my chest a little bit more. And I noticed as soon as I did it, it started making a difference with my flip tricks. Like that backside flip felt really, really good. And then randomly I decided that because I was getting this feeling of pulling my knees to my chest, I thought I would try it with back threes. Still could not figure out how to get a clean back 3, but it's a work in progress. We'll get there someday. So after doing some tricks, I decided that I was going to practice this specific feeling of standing on my toes and jumping up, because sometimes I'll get stuck at the bottom of my tray flip, and I have no problem squatting, but squatting, you put your heels on the ground. But with tray flips, it's like you're doing a squat on your tippy toes. So I wanted to specifically practice that feeling. And then I wanted to get a feeling for that scooping forward motion rather than kicking back. I have a really bad habit of doing this stupid donkey kick. So I'm really trying to break that habit and focus on what it would feel like to scoop like a J, kind of scoop back, but really scoop the board forward. Now that the kind of preliminary steps are out of the way, it's time to focus on getting that scoop. Now, I noticed that when I switch to this P-Rod foot position with my foot right above the pocket of the tail, I get so much grip that it's really tempting for me to kick behind me because I can really feel that scoop and that grab on my foot. But it really doesn't work like that. You've really got to push forward and pop and push forward to get the right rotation. So now with that scoop in mind, it was time to try and jump up, powerfully stay over the board and commit while doing that scoop. At first, I was still struggling to break old habits, but slowly and surely I was able to, in these first 10 attempts, try and stay a little bit more over the board, try and scoop forward rather than jumping and kicking back. Now, in this set of 10, this is where things really started to click. This is where I started to realize that if I kept my weight over the board and focused on jumping up, I could still get the rotation if I really pushed off my tippy toes on my back foot, that I could still get the board to rotate, and I didn't need to jump so far forward and kick so hard behind me. It's more of a down and forward scoop rather than kicking behind me. And I was super psyched because on that attempt I got 6 out of 10, which is a new personal record. Now, this last set of 10 was not my best set. Part of that has to do with just the fact that my legs were getting tired. I wasn't taking too long of breaks between sets because I didn't want my legs to get stiff. But although I didn't land a bunch during the set of 10 tray flips, I did feel like I was landing on my board more. And then after I finished my 10, I went ahead and did some bonus tray flips, and I landed a couple, maybe 2 or 3 more. But I really was starting to get that feeling for jumping up and scooping forward, and things really started clicking.
All right, well, I feel like that's encouraging. Day 6 done, 4 more days to go. I'm starting to feel like we can do this again. Before today, I was feeling pretty discouraged, but now I feel like we have like a 50-50 chance. I feel like half of me thinks this is actually gonna happen. So remember to make every single day Friday, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Peace.
The best of you was a no-show, even though I never thought